Today we take a look at the kit that got me started in leatherwork. Hey guys, today is not going to be a long one. I just wanted to walk you through the tools that I started leatherwork with. I started like most people did, buying a kit off Amazon. Mine was actually 2 kits and a couple odds and ends that weren't included in the kit. But I'll show you everything that I got when I started and tell you what's good and what's bad, what you might want to avoid or what you might want to spend a little bit more money on. But this is essentially it. This is most of the kit that I got when I started. I think I've lost a couple of punches or whatever, and there's definitely something broken in here, but this is a popular way to start. It's not too expensive. My kit cost 58 Canadian dollars. That's about 45 US. So pretty affordable to get started. And here's what comes in it. It's pretty standard. It has your wood slicker. It has a pretty cheap skiving knife. I honestly still use this skiving knife. It will take an edge, it won't hold an edge, so you really should get yourself a strop and some jeweler's rouge to keep that thing sharp and keep it sharpened. Sorry, I strop it before I make anything, and it still goes dull halfway through. This is the edge beveler that comes with it. Again, it's really cheap. I'm still using this, unfortunately, but I'm cursing every time I use it. I do have a nice expensive one coming from Palo Santo, but that's where I started. It does come with a couple of these scratch-alls. I'm still using that. It's a scratch-all. It works fine. Comes with these emery board things if I want to do my nails while I'm working, I guess. It comes with a couple of these things. I think these are called an overstitch wheel. Oh, there was 2 in there. I only can find the one right now. I don't really use it, but it looks cheap. It comes with a French skiver. This French skiver sucks. Here's the other overstitch wheel, if that'll focus. It came with this thing for punching holes silently, I guess. The idea is you put these punches in, and then you press this against the leather, and it spins that, and yeah, it broke anyway. Comes with this safety skiver thing. I'm not sure what it's called, but it's not the greatest. And then it came with, I don't know, edge creaser, edge groover. I'm not a big fan of these, so I never really used them much. I didn't particularly dislike them. It's not my style. I ended up buying a set of wing dividers. These cost me 12 Canadian, or about 9 US dollars. And yeah, that's pretty much the starter kit I got off Amazon. There were a couple other things I got. I had to buy a mallet with it. This mallet cost me $25. It is really light, it's really cheap. It unscrews while you're hammering, which I guess you could throw some Loctite on there or something, which would probably fix that. But this cost me 25 Canadian or about 19 US. I ended up upgrading to this maul, which cost me 45 Canadian or 35 US. This thing is 1.2 pounds, I think it was. And it's made by Owden. You see that? Owden. This is supposed to be comparable to a Barry King maul. I'm sure a Barry King maul is a lot better, but for the price, this thing has been amazing. You can check them out on Amazon. The reviews for them are really good. I also ended up buying a strap cutter. These things will save you a lot of headache if you're cutting straps for bags or anything like that. This one cost me 20 Canadian, 15 US dollars. And that's pretty much it for the kit that I first got there. I did get a second kit, which was a sewing kit, which I wouldn't recommend. It kind of sucked. But it came with these needles. Sorry, I dropped one. And probably the worst thread I've ever used. This is awful stuff. And you don't get very much of it. These needles are just massive. And there's one of each kind, so you don't even have two of the same kind to do your saddle stitch with. For this sewing kit, I paid 11 Canadian dollars, about 8 US. I wouldn't bother with something like that. These are John James needles. These are kind of the gold standard of needles that you use for leatherwork. I think I paid 14 Canadian for these on Etsy. That's about $10 or $11 US. And these things have just been great. I sew with 1mm Ritza Tiger thread, and I got the 1/0 model. These things are great. I have a whole pack of these, a pack of 25, and I'm still using the first two I pulled out of the package in August. As well as that thread is not worth your time. I buy the Ritza Tiger thread. It is pretty expensive. It's $64 Canadian. I think that's 55 or so American. It's worth it. It's the best thread. If that's a little too steep for you for a full spool, you can go on Etsy or other places and get things like these. People will cut off smaller amounts for you and sell them. They do mark it up a bit because they're obviously taking their time to cut it up and they need to make a profit. So I would say the best way to go is to go with full spool if you can afford it. But if you can't, that's understandable. Another good option is this is the Vinimo thread. I got it from District Leather Supply. I think I paid 22 Canadian for it, which is probably $17 or $18 American. I really like the look of this. It's strong. It's not a flat thread, so it has a different look. But on some of the stuff I make, it's the look that I'm going for. So my stitching punch or chisel, whatever you want to call it, this did come in the first kit I showed you. I left it out because I'm just going to show you all the ones I've upgraded through since. But it came with a set of, I believe, 4 of these. This is the only one I could find. This is the old diamond chisel that pretty much everyone gets. It's black, but it's not actually black. It's painted essentially. So that paint actually makes a rough surface around the needles here, or prongs, or whatever you call them. So it kind of, when you punch, it grips onto the holes of what you're punching, right? So what I found worked is I took a really fine grit sandpaper and kind of just tried to get rid of some of that black stuff, and still didn't work great, but it did allow me to work. As soon as I could, I upgraded to this punch, and I do have a set of 3 of these. As you can see, this one's missing some prongs because these ones kept breaking. I think what was happening was these were getting clogged and then they would just blow apart when too much leather tried to go in there. They are from Leathercraft. on Etsy. They were okay. They're definitely better than the diamond, but they're still kind of a budget option. I think I paid $50 for the 3 of those there. Yeah, I did a lot of work with them. Would I buy them again? Maybe. I don't know. It depends how much money you have to invest right off the bat. I've since gone up to the Cinnabrooks. I have 2 of these. I have the 8 and the 2. These are very expensive. I think the Camovan crafts were about 50 Canadian dollars. It's probably 40 or so American dollars for those ones. These cost me close to 400 Canadian. I think 370 I paid for these 2. But with that said, they are worth every penny. They're so smooth to pull out of the leather when you punch your holes that it speeds up the whole process. They're amazing. I can't say enough good things about them, but I totally understand if you can't afford them right off the bat. Sorry, going back to these emery board stupid sanding things. I use a series of sandpaper. These are grits ranging from 220 down to 3,000. I literally bought this pack that has several of each of those grits. I bought it on Amazon for $14 Canadian, about $10 or $11 US. You can't beat it. This is 120 grit that I got from Home Depot, and I think I paid more than that for just the 1 grit. So go on Amazon, get proper sandpaper. You won't regret it. Something you will need when you're punching your stitching holes is something to punch on. I simply use this lovely pink cutting board, or this is what I started with anyway. It's worked just fine for me. You can pick them up. I picked this one up at a Canadian grocery store for under $10 10 years ago or something. You can't go wrong. I punch on it on just I lost my piece of scrap. I just have this piece of scrap leather. It's about 10 ounce. You put it on there, punch through. I try not to go through into the plastic. If you do, it's not a huge deal. I just figure punching into a scrap piece of leather is going to be softer than punching into some polycarbonate or whatever this is. I've since upgraded to just a small piece of rubber. I think I got this off District Leather Supply. It's fine. I find one thing that bugs me is that it's always warped like this, so it hasn't fixed itself yet. I don't know if it's going to. I might try adding some heat to it. But essentially it's a lot softer than the cutting board is. You can hammer something into there. There. And it shouldn't damage the tools. I still throw a piece of scrap leather on top of there just because I don't feel like breaking any more prongs on my stitching punches. So, couldn't hurt. There are a bunch of fancy knives that you can get for leather work. A lot of them work great. I like X-Acto knife. I use normal, everyday blades that these things come with. Sorry, I forgot how to open it for a sec. Just these normal X-Acto blades. I am still using the first blade that I started leatherwork with, because again, before I do anything, I strop my tools. Keeps it nice and sharp. This thing's a little weird to go around corners, so for corners and more intricate details, I got this little X-Acto blade X, I think it's called. I paid $5 for it on Amazon. It's really sharp. You can strop it as well. The blades are cheap if you break them. They have a little bit of flex to them, which is nice, and yeah, I love it so far. Other than that, that's pretty much all I use. Don't forget this stuff. This is game changing. It's about $20 for this. I started in July and I'm halfway through now, so probably gonna last me a year, if not longer. don't buy the drag gum or whatever the other thing is. Everyone I know that switched from that to Tokenol has said Tokenol's way better. Just save yourself the hassle and buy the Tokenol. But other than that, that should be everything you need to get started in leatherwork other than the leather. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, leave them below in the comments. I'll get back to everybody who messages me. If you have anything that you think I missed, let me know as well. And as well, I'm planning on doing a video about essential tools in leatherwork. I got a lot of crap that I don't use that sits in a box here. So I would like to avoid that waste and try to find a good set of tools that isn't going to be money wasted or come with a bunch of garbage that you're never going to use. So I will plan that video for the future. If you could like and subscribe, that would be a huge help. And I will see you in the next video. Thank you.